Good evening, traveler. Today, I want to talk about a common mistake that many people make when they're attempting to find out who their spirit animal is. First, I'll tell you what the mistake is, and then we'll kind of look at how it happens, and then we'll kind of sum it up by seeing what can be done to try to avoid this mistake. The mistake is oftenly quite without understanding that they're doing it. So I'm not saying that people deliberately step into this category. But what happens is a person ends up choosing their spirit animal instead of having the spirit animal that's perfect for them drawn to them. Now, how this happens is it's based upon the expectation of the person. Most people have formed sort of a hierarchy, if you will, of spirit animals. And they think of the biggest, the most powerful, the most majestic. They think of both old and new mythologies and stories. And they tend to pick the animals from there. And just to give you some examples from the stories, from the old stories, let's take the owl. Athena, the Greek goddess, had an owl. Merlin, the mage from the Arthurian cycles, had an owl. And if you get into the more modern times and the more modern stuff, Harry Potter had an owl. And then there's the ravens, of course, Odin from Norse mythology. Cats, Freya from Norse mythology. Crows, the Morrigan from Celtic mythology. And so you see all these various spirit animals that are well known, and people read about them and they get excited and they start seeing how those animals could help them in the situation they're in. That would be all right, but the problem is, and the challenge here is that very oftenly even the person that's having the problem doesn't know everything it entails or all the things that's going to be needed to get them out of that problem. And so they could be picking a spirit animal, let's say, that might have some of the qualifications, but not all. And so when they go into the place where they're ready to find out who their spirit animal is, and generally they do it through like a guided meditation, they'll go in there with the expectation of only a finite set of animals that could meet their needs. But the problem is you don't always know exactly what you need. Sometimes the symptoms that you see that you want to treat is not the root of your problems. And the only one that always knows the root of your problems is your higher self. Now, there are times when your higher self will choose to reveal this to you, and times when it doesn't. And exactly why that is, I don't know. But I can honestly tell you it's the truth. Sometimes your higher self will be a bit quiet, and it expects you to work with it to come up with the answer. So when you go into a guided meditation, say, to find out who your spirit guide is, the only way you can really do it is to go in and focus on what you see as your biggest need at the time. And have faith that your higher self will send out the call to the right spirit animal because he sees the root of your problem, and it also sees some symptoms that you might not even see because it sees it from an objective level. So, and also keep in mind that higher spirit of yourself is also out of time. He can see things in the past, present, and future. And so when it decides what animal specifically can guide you in the areas that you needed to be guided to reach the places you need to reach and to solve the difficulties you're having get you past your obstacles so that you can eventually evolve and become that gift to the world that you're meant to be. So you got to trust that your spirit guide can handle that. And so when you go in, just focus to your meditation. Just focus on the needs that you think you have. Trust the higher part of yourself to handle the rest. And don't focus on a finite set of animals, believing that you have the answer. Just focus on your difficulties and let your higher self draw the correct animal towards you. Light up the beacon to just the right animal. And you might be surprised with some of the combinations you come up with. I mean, it might not be anything that you've ever heard of before. It could be a spider, a lizard, a bat. It could be a shark, a duck-billed platypus for that matter. Absolutely anything, big or small. It could even be a slug. You just don't know. And it isn't necessarily going to be the most glamorous animal you've ever seen, but it will have the ability to guide you to where you need to go. So don't make the mistake of trying to figure out what animal is the best for you. Open your mind, let your higher self set the beacon, and let just the right animal come to you. And from there, then you work with your spirit animal. You found it. So that's all I have today for you, traveler. From my heart to yours, if you are seeking out your spirit animal, do it with the open mind. Let your higher self call it. And even some of you now that have spirit animals, I would ask you to take another guided meditation or go back into the way that you found your first one and see if another isn't given to you. Because just possibly, you've fallen into the trap of somewhat picking your animal because of its attributes. And there might be a different spirit animal that has those attributes and more. So there's kind of a challenge there. If you don't have a spirit animal, go get one in the proper way. If you do have a spirit animal, go back and check anyway. See if something completely different is revealed to you. And that's it for this evening. Thank you very much for your time, traveler. It's been very good talking to you. From my heart to yours. We'll talk again very soon. Bye-bye for now.